Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to talk about a news story that got ran here in the UK. And yes, I need to cover this because I live in the UK, and actually something like 30% of my subscriber base are in the UK. And this made big waves. Sky News released a bit of data, their own personal research talking to people, and their estimate is that as many as 1 million people in the United Kingdom could be on anabolic steroids right now. Now, they made a big deal about younger people on it and the changing images, and they're right to some extent, and I think everyone is really concerned who's even in communities where they say, look, this stuff isn't that bad, it needs to stay legal, it needs to be probably legalized in the US, or at least decriminalized to a large extent. All agree, though, that children getting their hands on it in 13 and 15-year-olds is a problem, but I think the majority of people over here realize that it is a propaganda to push stuff more towards the way it is in the US, and that punishing people, everyone else who isn't breaking the law, who are adults, by changing the law, all these tons of people, is not the way to protect a bunch of teenagers. You want to protect teenagers, give them a better education on drugs in school. Tell them not to use them, warn them of the risks. I don't like it though when we see these propaganda pieces though, because they classify all things as a problem, and they interviewed one guy who they had discussed with him issues such as his liver inflammation and his hypothyroidism, and I'm sorry, but the majority of anabolics don't cause either one of these things. Testosterone doesn't cause these things. That comes from abusing excessive amounts of oral anabolics, generally combined with even moderate drinking. People who drink alcohol, everyone knows this, every medical doctor who's involved with this, who even prescribes these things for athletes and for non-athletes alike, will tell you that you cannot be even a social drinker or a casual drinker if you use orals at all. That's generally agreed upon by all the research, and in the UK that is a problem because there is such a massive drinking culture here. Having lived in a few places around the world, I can say that people drink here more than anywhere else I've ever been in my life. Just like they say that we Texans are obsessed with guns, the Brits are as obsessed with alcohol as we are with guns. Which is probably one of the reasons they outlaw guns here, because everyone's drunk all the time and you can drink at 18. You can be intoxicated in public. Seems a little crazy to me. But I think that's a big part of your issue there, is that a lot of people here, because of the legal nature of them, they go on these oral anabolics and they all drink. They have a drinking culture here. And that is a recipe for disaster. It doesn't work, can't do that. And then the same issue, I don't like how they mentioned his hypothyroidism. That's not caused by anabolics, that's caused from abusing fat-burning drugs, which also carry the same legal status here, thyroid hormones. But it doesn't come from his anabolics. It's a completely separate class of substances. So why they felt the need to address that is beyond me. All in all, though, I really don't like the approach they took with this. I really wish they had taken a more fair and unbiased approach, because I know that when they were doing this report, I think David Crossan, who I've talked about before, who is actually a certified expert witness in court on anabolics and anabolic steroid abuse here in the UK, he testifies in trials on this stuff. He has a lot of experience with this. He has media outreach. He tried to contact him on this, and they didn't listen to him or talk to him at all. And they just kind of interviewed random people. And so this piece was a bit biased. It seemed like a bit of propaganda piece, although they are right, is that, yeah, anabolic use is very, very widespread in the United Kingdom. And whether that's a good or a bad thing is subject to debate and subject to discussion. Although even I will agree that is a bad thing when combined with alcohol or combined with people who are in their teens. That's a bad combination. That's a recipe for disaster. But as far as the rest of it goes, I don't know. I don't think you necessarily need any real change in legislature or laws over here at this point. Your issues with education on those other two issues is what's going to do the most good. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. But let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go. Oh, Mount Bicepius.